right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Charyse Williams, and I am so excited to be here with you for the introduction of the Charyse Williams Show. Let me tell you, you are in for a ride. First of all, I want to start by congratulating you for being one of the smart seekers out there that's looking for education, inspiration, and motivation to take you further and faster as you create, launch, and scale your successful holistic health coaching business. Secondly, I want to give you some insights as to what you can expect from this podcast, why I decided to launch this podcast. I want to share with you a little bit more about me and my story. And most importantly, I want to share with you what you're going to learn from both myself as well as other thought leaders in the industry that I'll be bringing on the show with me. So let's go ahead and get started. What you can expect from this podcast is simple yet effective strategies, framework, guidance, and skills so that you can go from where you are now, whether you are brand new in business or you've been in business for a while, but so that you can go from where you are now to the point where you're making the impact that you desire to make, as well as creating those quantum leaps to your first six figures or to your next six figures. Okay. So just to tell you a little bit about me, my background, my nursing career, my entire nursing career was adult critical care. I was an ICU nurse for about 13 years. I pretty much worked in every ICU you could probably think of. My favorites, I will say, was surgical ICU, CVICU, and CCU. I always say I'm a heart nurse. I'm definitely a heart nurse. So what happened was this. I remember very distinctly where I was. I was standing in front of bed 22 in surgical ICU. And I remember thinking, we are doing something wrong. And by we, I meant nurses, doctors like us in healthcare. We are doing something wrong because that very day when I was standing right there in front of surgical ICU or in front of bed 22, I was taking care of two patients and they were in their 40s and 50s. And at the time, I think I was in my late 20s. And I just remember we're doing something wrong. My patients are getting younger. They're getting sicker younger. Something's broken. Something's not right. And that's when I really became a bit disenfranchised with the current healthcare model. And so what I did was I actually decided to start a network marketing company. I started my own business with network marketing and quickly rose to the top 2% of that company while I was still working full time in the ICU. And my role in being in that leadership role, and I was in that leadership role for 18 years, but being in that role, my job was to educate, mentor, coach women on how to build successful six-figure businesses, and just like I had done. And so as I was moving and grooving with that, what happened was I started to get a little itch, a little healthcare itch, but I knew that because I had transitioned out of nursing at that point, I knew I didn't want to go back to the bedside. That was one thing I was very clear about, but I didn't know what that would actually look like. So what did I do? I created and launched a healthcare IT training and project management consulting business. And that was amazing. And I built that business to a multi six-figure business. Here's what ended up happening. I started falling apart, literally falling apart. I built that business through blood, sweat, tears, everything I had, traveling the country. It was a lot. And on the flip side of that, what ended up happening was my health started deteriorating. I had put on a massive amount of weight. I was having debilitating migraines every other day. I had knee pain, chronic fatigue. I was a mess. And I literally was at a restaurant with one of my friends. We were walking out of the restaurant. We stepped off the curb into the parking lot, going to the car, and I fell face down on the asphalt in the middle of the parking lot. And I remember laying there like, Charyse, are you on the ground? Get up, girl, get up. Like I literally remember talking to myself, and my friend helped me up. I dusted myself off. She walked to her car, I went to my car. And I remember sitting there with my forehead against the steering wheel. And I started crying. And I thought, girl, what are you doing? You are running yourself ragged. You are literally falling apart. But I will say this, I'm very grateful for that moment because that was a turning point for me. And that's what really put me on my holistic health healing journey. So again, very, very grateful. And what I started to do was I started researching and learning and taking classes and this and that. And I learned about food as medicine and the benefits of therapeutic essential oils and medicinal herbs and breath work and meditation and visualization and tons of alternative healing modalities. And I healed myself. I healed myself naturally. And so I started sharing with everyone who I could share with. And officially in 2018 is when I entered the holistic health arena. And, since then I've educated, supported, coached hundreds of women to reverse their health issues. And 2020 during COVID built that business to a six-figure business actually within the first 9 months. Okay. What ended up happening was tons of nurses, nurse practitioners, doctors, they noticed the impact that I was making online. And they started asking me, literally reaching out to me on social media, asking me, how is it that you're building this business? How is that you're making such an impact? What are you doing? Do you mentor? Do you coach people? And that's when I pivoted and stepped into that role. And to date, you guys, it's been amazing. I've educated, coached, mentored, and supported hundreds of female clinicians to create, launch, and scale their own successful holistic health coaching businesses. So that's my backstory. That's a little bit about me. I'm sure I will be sharing more on our journey together here on this podcast. And speaking of podcasts, why? Why did I start this podcast in the first place? Well, what I realized is there was a gap. There were some missing pieces because nurses and I'll just say female clinicians, we're freaking brilliant. We are brilliant. We know some stuff. We're some badass nurses. Yes, I said ass because it's my podcast and I can say that. But here's the thing: although we're so brilliant, what I had found is that we don't have any idea on how to monetize and package our brilliance and translate that into a thriving coaching business. And so we know what we know, but the missing piece, the deficit, if you will, is how to make it a thriving business. So I am here to equip you with the necessary business acumen so that you can do that. So what can you expect to learn from myself and other thought leaders in the industry? Let me tell you, this actually is not your traditional business podcast focused solely on business development, sales, and marketing. It is so much more, so much more. In this podcast experience, we will have elevated conversations around metacognition, neuroplasticity, functional medicine, neurosomatics, money mindset, energetics, food as medicine, amongst other really fascinating topics that I cannot wait to share with you. So, with that, if you are committed to revolutionizing how we as nurses, as a collective, can rise and impact the health of ourselves, our families, our friends, our communities, dare I say, the world through our coaching businesses without sacrificing our health, without sacrificing our core values, without sacrificing everything that's important to us, then I look forward to having you join me here each and every week for a new episode. In the meantime, if you're excited about what's to come, invite a friend, invite a colleague to join you on the journey because friends don't let friends grow alone. I'll see you next time right here on the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.